quick development update on our latest project at Jiggins Lane. So where we stand now, we're just doing the footings for the extension, and we're going to get the building regs people around on Monday to sign off. So come on and I'll show you what's been happening. We're going to take a look at the garden. As you remember last time, it was all vastly overgrown. So what's happened, the next stage before the structural work happens is we need to do the footings. So the building reg people, as I said, are going to come round and take a look. So we've taken down the garage. What's going to happen here, we're going to be digging out here and making 2 of our ensuite rooms. We've got this huge garden here that's going to be the parking space for the tenants. So we're very fortunate to have this parcel of land. The garage ended here, and all we're doing is extend out to about here, and then we're going to make 2 really nice, big, large ensuite rooms. As you can see, it's going to be really, really big. Just come down and we'll show the angle down here. Just to give you appreciation of how much space this is, it's really quite large. We're going to get 2 car parking spaces up here, 2 car parking spaces here, and then another 2 car parking spaces there, and then 4 at the front. So it's going to be quite a nice, plenty of space.
There's no sound, Dan?
There's no sound. There will be, they'll be able to hear me. So all we've done is dug up all the shrubs using the diggers. Look at the back of the house now. As you see, the garage is down. We'll take a quick walk inside, and then I'll explain about building regs as the next sort of lesson about developments. Come in. So, in the previous video, I spoke about the architects and the way that happens. So how to like pick an architect, what's a good drawing, what's a bad drawing. If you haven't seen it yet, go back and check it out. So after the architect drawings, the first stage that you'll need to do is get the building regs people down, is when you've done your digging for the footing. So if you're extending, you need to dig down and make sure it's a certain depth in accordance with your planning, which the architect's done. And then they'll come round and they'll sign off, and that'll be the first set of signatures. The second set of signatures will be after you've actually built up the extension. So you've done the what you call the foundations, as we say. You've built on top of it, and then you're going to need to get the building regs people round again. Just for your own clarity and for you to learn about this, I would advise you taking control of the building reg company rather than handing it off to the builder. Your builder should be able to advise you, but again, if you're not able to educate your builder if he doesn't know, then it's sort of your fault if a project goes wrong, and there are real bad ramifications if your extension or your build is not to the building, not to your architectural plans. Because what will happen is the building regs people will come round and they won't sign it off, and they might say, right, you've built out 2 meters too far, you need to take it down. And this is unnecessary costs that can be easily avoided as long as you stick to the plans. You make sure that the building reg people are well aware of what you're doing, what you're planning to do, and they'll also advise you that they might say, right, you need to use these materials because that's part of the plan. We won't sign it off unless you use these materials, which means it'll save you money because you're not going to waste money on materials, build it up, and then for it to be told it needs to be taken down, which has actually happened to a friend of mine. He did a full built everything up, and the architect wasn't as good as he should have been, and he didn't. The situation was he didn't use a beam that was strong enough for the floor. So he'd finished, spent £6,000 on a refurb and told, no, it's not good enough, it needs to come down, you need a heavier bar. So this is stuff that you need to avoid. So I'm just going to go in a linear fashion again. So we're going to keep adding bits and bits for our builds. So step 1, find your deal. Step 2, you apply for planning with a good architect. Step 3, you then, when you get planning, you need to get your building reg drawings done by the architect. They then get sent to a building reg company, which is separate from the council. You can go to the council, but they're quite slow. But there's also separate companies that will do it faster. You know, privatisation is always faster and quicker. They will then tell you if your plans are good enough or if they need adjusting. After that, you then need to get the building reg people round at stages. The first stage is usually when you've dug your footings, so that's what stage we're at here. The second stage will be after you've built your extension. Even if you're doing permitted development, say loft extension or using the 3 meters extension, you still need building regs. You can't just do it all cowboy, because it will come back to bite you in the butt later on. If you have any questions, leave a comment in the post, and then I'll happily answer it later on. You're going to get more developments as we're going to be speeding along with this now. In the next few weeks, we'll be taking the roof off and then putting the roof on, and then all that needs to be signed off as well. And so, if your builder's good, he'll do it where they can come around, sign off the footings, come out, sign off the trusses for the roof, do everything in one, so you're not waiting on the building regs to go to the next stage. Alright, thank you for tuning in, and we'll be going live next week with some really fantastic news for the next project and a little announcement, so watch out for that. Thank you, I'm Daniel at KMR.